What is the difference between reframing and cognitive shift?
Oh, the cognitive shift comes from the client.
The cognitive shift always comes from the client. And the reframing comes from the coach. So it is positive, a positive spin that the practitioner puts on the tapping statements or reminder phrases. So to reframe is to change the meaning by putting a different setting, context, or frame. So an example is if you ever had a nasty experience that with time you can look back on and think it was pretty darn funny. The most common mistakes are when people off the bat start reframing without really knowing if it's landing. Things like, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive anyone that's related to anything that happened with this event. Sort of phrases. I know that that's not true. The client is just following along because that's what you're saying to say. Okay, I'll say that. The method that is most often confused and confusing and done wrong is choices method. So we will get into some choices method and how to do it the way that Patricia Carrington explained it. And another thing to do is to have plenty of really good rapport before you do the reframing. And there's some differences and different styles of reframing, so we're going to go over those. Here's an easy way to think of reframing and to do reframing when you're first learning it so that you can get into the practice of it, is once you get a specific event down to a low suds level, a 3, 2, 1 in the suds, that's a perfect time to do a reframing. Another really good time to do a reframing, like we've been doing sneaking away, is towards the end of the session, towards the end of a session. And another easy trick is to do it in lieu of the second half of the setup statement. So it could be something like, even though I still feel a little angry at Sue, she was clueless about how much she hurt me, but after all, she was only 10 at the time when it happened. So you're just substituting the second half of the setup statement with the reframe. There is a concept called garbage and gold. And the way that I think of this is you're throwing things on top of the, you're throwing the spaghetti. Isn't that how you did as a kid? Like you would throw a strand of spaghetti and if it stuck to the refrigerator, it was ready or it wasn't ready?
Yeah. Does it stick?
Does it stick? So garbage and gold, garbage and gold. And so we were teaching you and having you be more comfortable with intuition because intuitive hits will often be gold. And sometimes you'll make a mistake and it will be garbage. And the more rapport your client has with you, the more they're going to say, you know what, that's not really true. Or that's not really landing for me. Or they'll give you a quizzical look. Or they'll have a hard time repeating you. And that's how you know that it's more garbage than gold.
When you said trip up on words, like that's different than like they don't want to repeat. Like sometimes they're just like, that's not true, and you just go, okay, so.
Yes.
But what if they like get all jumbled with the words?
So get all jumbled with the words and you're and during reframing, then I might say, is there something wrong? Is that not true for you?
Okay.
While you're tapping.
So that's a resistance.
It might just not be true for them. You might be hitting some garbage. It might not be true for them.
Because it happens where people just are jumbling. It may not be around reframe, but just where they're jumbled in the words.
Right. And so you might ask them, what do you after you're done with the round, like why do you think you stumbled over that word? But I'm talking as you're experimenting and you're lobbing You know, you're just putting it out there, This reframe, does it stick? Is it landing? Oh, yeah, that doesn't feel like they're congruent with it. They're not. So garbage is silence. Like you'll have them try to repeat something and there's silence, or they trip over their words, or their facial expressions will tell you, they'll tell you if they have a lot of rapport with you, and they will hear tail enders. Like you'll say, and Sally was only 10 years old. Yeah, but she was an idiot at 12 years old. You know, whatever. You'll hear, they will say a tail ender, or you will hear a tail ender if you're doing this stuff on yourself, now that you know. And the gold will be, like you'll throw something out there, like, yeah, okay, yes, that's it. When you say something that is a reframe and it's really landing, they will just like, their whole body will say yes, or there will be happy tears. Like, oh, I so get that my mom was really doing the best she could. They will say yes, and there will be no tail enders. If you happen to hit some garbage, you just say, okay, so that's not true, and you move on. There are different styles of reframing. There's gentle and more conservative, or bold and provocative. My style as a practitioner is to be gentle and conservative versus bold and provocative. And I think that a lot of this is style. It is also paying attention to your clients.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
She'll clarify.
No, I just couldn't identify the animal. It looked like a turkey.
It's a kitten and a
I saw
lion.
that. I got the kitten.
So a bold statement is like a fact, stated as a fact. Like, he was drunk anyway. What did he know about raising kids? And a gentle one is maybe. Who knows? But he could have been doing the best he could at the time. So that's more style and comfort. And the more provocative or bold you want to be, the more rapport you need with your client. So I could be working with a client that I've known for a very long time and say something, because I know that that we're working on self-acceptance, and I could say something like, in some distant galaxy far, far away, millions of years from now, I will deeply and completely accept myself. And that is, it's humor, it's bold, and right? I'm the only mother in the history of the world that has ever felt guilty about something they did to their child. Right?
I think you noticed that one on me.
I did? Probably because I had a lot of rapport with you at the time.
And I was like,
Yes. Right. Okay, so we get kind of getting the difference here?
yeah.
And so I know like I'll even flip, like say, maybe he was doing the best he could. No, he wasn't. He was such a drunk.
Yes.
And I'll flip.
So we're getting there.
Getting ahead.
We're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there. Okay, so reframing with humor is a little bit of what we just did. And again, you can emphasize the absurdity of it. And error here.
I already thought it. Just
There's
keep
an error on the
going.
PowerPoint. So again, you need to use reframing with humor with a lot of caution. And make sure that you have rapport with your client, and make sure that that's the style. Like, I have clients that are very sensitive. You know, I can't imagine that they would ever crack a dirty joke. You know, that their demeanor and their whole personality would not be okay with me flinging some of these things at them. Mm-hmm. So I don't.
And I ask you, like, I don't know, depending on what it is, like I'll go, do you cuss? You know, like, because sometimes they'll be afraid to do that in front of you, but like they need to say those words.
If they feel comfortable with you, then they will say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's reframing with humor. And then we have open-ended reframes. And EFT Master Carol Look is great at the open-ended reframes, which can start with, what if? Even though I get nervous when I'm about to kick. So I always miss the goal. What if I didn't get nervous this time? Maybe this time it'll be different.